So the other day, Marquez's name came up in a meeting.
Yeah, we need to send the Wave 1 units out to Mr. Who's the Boss, MKBHD, etc.
So I'm not sure if it's obvious, but I'm actually a big fan of these creators, and I've always wondered, when we send them the product, how does that whole process work? Do we tell them what to say? Do we brief them, etc., etc.? So earlier today, I sat down with Lewis, who's involved in that whole process, to understand and get a little bit of tea on, like, how does it all work? And stick around to the end, because you can actually win one of these bad boys. Whoops.
So I'm a tech YouTuber, you come in, you've got phone 3 ready to go.
We start with like a bit of a brand recap, and then getting the phone out on the table, talking to them about design first, and then talking to them about other features, like why have we moved the camera module? Why have we updated to whatever many megapixels? Sometimes it's me talking to someone for 20 minutes and then 5 minutes of questions, or it's more of a conversation.
Is there an element of trying to steer their opinion of the product with these external things like giftings or like putting them up in a nice hotel? Is there anything like that happening?
Not for the most part. Like if we want someone's time and we need to get them to London to meet design team, we will definitely put someone up in a hotel, but that's standard, you're paying for someone's time. But other than that, we want their opinions to be completely honest. We want their critical thoughts, because I think their audiences can see through that when it's like sponsored posts or ads. We don't do any of that. Every single review we do at Nothing is not paid for. It's because the creator's interested in it and we want to work with them and we think it'll be interesting to their subscribers.
All right, so what I'm realizing is it's less about private jets and slipping gold bars under the table. But what I was curious about is why is there so much effort going into these YouTubers versus a big newspaper or a big TV spot?
That's where a lot of our audience sit. Yes, like legacy media are really important still, but actually we find a lot of our audience all across the world are getting their reviews on YouTube first or TikTok first. We see new age media as a really, really important area. And it's a very different output as well. Like that long form YouTube review of like 15 minutes, or when we work with Flossie Carter who does like a 45-minute run through, like that's a very different piece of content to just like a written web article.
All right, Lewis, that makes sense, I guess. Next, I asked him, what would you do if somebody gave you a bad review? Would you still send them the product next time?
For sure. I think we need to hope that the product team and the design team have listened if there's any genuine criticism and see how we can improve the product from generation to generation. I think the one that's really easy to look at is ear 1 to ear 2 to ear in terms of like improving sound tuning, improving battery life, improving fit. We shouldn't just give up on a media title or creator because they've disliked a product once.
A lot of what Lewis was saying was making sense, but I was curious. I was like, bro, what do the actual emails look like between you and the creators?
I can show you like start to finish. I mean, it always starts with an NDA. Because we can't even say what the product is I want you to test out. This comes all before we even put on like Pokemon teaser or date announcement. We're having the conversations before anything's public. I think lots of people think NDAs are very like, you can say this, you can't say this, you can't have competitor products. Our NDAs are there to make sure the creator has a bit of freedom. So all it is you cannot share photos of the phone, photos from the phone, thoughts and feelings until the embargo lifts. We keep it quite simple. Tyler, who's based in the US, who's like really big on TikTok.
I see you, Tyler.
He's great and really, really likes our product. So he reached out to us first, and then it's just a conversation of, hey, really enjoying your content.
Do you mind me being so much in your business right now?
And at that point, we have something called a reviewer's guide, which we work with our creative team on, which just essentially presents the product with like key features, new things, story. Yeah, as ever, we're really keen to hear you on filter views on Nothing products, warts and all. Maybe I shouldn't push too much on negativity, but that's kind of the attitude the whole PR team has, is like, it should be like pros, cons, like we want to hear everything. That's what's going to be more engaging for their subscribers at the end of the day.
Do they ever send you videos before they post and then you feedback, you say remove this stuff?
That would be completely different, and that would be a paid conversation. Where you have approval and you can say it needs to go out exactly at this time. How we work with the reviews programs across Nothing and CMF is, here's the NDA, it can go live from this time, but they're under no obligation of when to post and what to post. It's not ethical for a journalist to share a review ahead of time. That's their independent thoughts and feelings.
So since this conversation, I've done a little bit of research of my own on this like code of ethics that these journalists and creators live by. And basically what it means is it gives them a set of rules so that they're not affected by the entities that they're actually reviewing. Lewis in the interview gives a really good example where The Verge and the BBC actually specifically ask that they do not want their drinks paid for at any of these events so that they can prove that they haven't been swayed in any way by the entities that have brought them there. So this is a separate thing to things like hashtag paid for ads, but then this made me think, how does PR feel about it coming from the other side?
So we see a lot of these comments online underneath different YouTube creators. You're biased, you're this, you're that. How do you feel seeing it from this side?
PR is quite a hard thing to understand. Even when I see like family and friends, they're like, oh, it's like advertising, or like, I think there's a lot of like mystery and like skepticism about PR. So I don't blame people for thinking that when they like see reviews or they see content. They'll be like, nothing paid, X amount of pounds for this review. But I can say from working here and working in PR for like almost 10 years now, that just isn't the case. Like, we want the content to be as authentic and interesting to audiences as possible.
It's almost in the creator's interest, isn't it?
To be
authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it would start damaging their reputation, or I think just people would see through people being, oh, they've done lots and lots and lots of positive reviews. How does that work? Surely there's some criticisms. There should be balance to content. There should be balance to web articles. And also you have to be transparent due to laws about declaring something when it's paid.
So what I'm realizing at this point is that I've probably romanticized this whole process a little bit. But with that realization dawning on me, I thought, how can I still get some tea from this situation? So I thought to ask Lewis, what's it like working with Carl from a PR perspective?
Good.
Yes?
I have to it's not really about reviews, but I have to like pre-brief him on interviews. I think he's very like future gazing,
Right, yeah.
thinking about whatever's happening in 2 years' time, and I'm like, we've got an interview with Bloomberg tomorrow. You can talk about this, and you can't talk about this. And somebody's like, oh, why can't we talk about this? And I'm like, because this isn't public knowledge yet. But he's really good in interviews because he's quite humble, and he's not really like media trained too much. Like, he wants to give his authentic thoughts and feelings to media.
Carl's pretty active online. I see him tweeting stuff sometimes. Does he put any of this stuff in front of you?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes he wants to get a second opinion on it, wants the PR team to check it out. Sometimes it happens. And then we have to catch up with that. And we're kind of ready for that. An example is week before Phone 2, Carl tweeted, here are 4 photos I took on Phone 2, please share yours. Now in that moment, I was like, right, that's gonna cause a bit of an issue because we've told all the media who are under NDA, they can't do that until next week. And now there's community members and everyone's sharing those photography samples. That was hard to manage. But how we worked around it was we quickly communicated to media, if they want to share some photography samples, they can do that. Really, we'd like to know all of this ahead of time. And for the most part, that does happen. But occasionally we have to react and be quick, but it happens.
But I mean, I suppose, isn't that like also like a little bit of what we are, is that we kind of, sometimes we just sort of do things and we're more organic with things a little
100%.
Yeah.
I think because we're a young brand, trying to have fun, we can be a bit cheekier, we can take more risks. And actually, it did create a lot of content the week before launch. Hey, there's a real big step up here from Phone 1 to Phone 2 on camera. It got people excited about the product. So yeah, we can take those risks a bit more here.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to win one of these ear opens, then drop a comment below and make sure you subscribe. But until then, sayonara.